It's always good to see different parts of the internet that I've personally never gone to. So today, Farrell McGuire with Horrors on the Russian Internet. I have no idea what this is.
In 2010, posts would begin circulating on Russian language image boards revolving around a strange entity spotted outside a Russian housing complex. This creature, slightly larger than a human, was supposedly climbing down an apartment building much like a spider would, sticking to the walls with its long black limbs. Once it reaches the ground, its limbs shrink and the creature more resembles a tall, skinny human.
So hear me out. Why does everything look like it's shot on a 2004 Nokia, okay? Like, I know Mudahar's brought this up in some videos. Why is it that, like, first off, this is just the most normal Australian spider, let's be honest. Second, yeah, like, why is everything on the 2004 Nokia? We have HD. Do you not have phones? I mean, Blizzard themselves said it.
All of these posts mention that this information was gathered from a video file called station922.mkv.
Sure.
But none of them would actually link to the file itself.
I mean, security cameras
the
are
most we get from any of these posts are merely just screenshots from the clip. Supposedly, the station922.mkv file contains some sort of malware that destroys the operating system of the computer it's played on.
Okay.
This story would be passed around over the next couple of years, with new information occasionally being added to it. The clip was supposedly filmed in a suburb of Moscow, but nobody could find any evidence of this video actually existing. That is until 2013, when a user known as Funtail on YouTube would post the full video to his channel.
Top. That looks doctored. That looks doctored. That looks Photoshop. That is hashtag not actually happening. No way. He said the funny.
In this clip, we can indeed see some spider-like being climbing down an apartment building. Since the video appears to have been filmed at night on a smartphone, everything is pretty dark and you can't see very much. We only really catch a couple glimpses of the creature. One thing I noticed right away is that the screenshots from the original Station 922 posts that were floating around a couple years prior don't actually show up in the video. In fact, the setting appears to be completely different. While the buildings look pretty similar, the screenshots are much brighter than the video we just watched. There's also a ton of grain in the screenshots, and the white balance seems to be giving the picture a yellowish tint, whereas the video doesn't have any grain and has a more orange tint.
Sure.
These screenshots do not come from this video. Upon checking the description, we can see a few links.
Wow, talk about legacy UI.
One of them leading to the uploader's VK profile, a popular Russian social media site similar to Facebook, and also an article seemingly written on a site ran by the uploader. This article tells a story much like all the image board posts discussing Station 922, the difference here being that the write-up ends with the uploader telling us that he accidentally found the original video in the expanses of the web. This clip, which I'm sure I don't have to tell you is 100% fabricated, would go on to get 500,000 views, fueling ever more intrigue into Station 922. Just what was this creature, and why has the original video seemingly been wiped off the face of the internet? We had to wait a few years, but we would end up getting answers to all of these questions. You see, talented internet sleuths who can uncover seemingly the smallest needles in the biggest haystacks are not a phenomenon exclusive to the West. In a stark parallel to the search for the origin of the backrooms location, a group of Russian internet detectives got together in 2014 to try to uncover the truth behind station922.mkv. Over the next few years, they would slowly unravel the entire story down to the smallest details. They would discover that the pictures weren't taken in Moscow, but instead in the Russian city of Perm. They would not only identify the exact apartment unit where the photos were taken, but they would also interview the residents of the building, asking if they knew anything about the creature.
This is why I love and fear the internet simultaneously. Like, this is one of those things where, like, I don't know why Firefox does this. Like, I pay for premium. I go full screen. Sometimes there's a border. Like, it doesn't go entirely full screen. I don't know what causes it. It's odd. Anyways, not the point of the video. Like, because Reddit can use, what was the Smash the Stone thing, right? We buried the rock with the memes on it, and like, was it 4chan or Reddit? I don't remember. They triangulated like the bushes and shadows to figure out where exactly this stone was, right? Like, there's the 4chan thing where there was some military training drills, and they were able to like use statues at the start of like a residential district, like 2 statues and a power line, like a some sort of power pole or whatever, and they were able to like find exactly where that was and then pass that information along to what allegedly happened then was an airstrike on that exact location. Like, it's wild because on one hand it's like if you don't piss off the internet or you mobilize them in a way, they don't really care. But if you do incentivize them or you do mobilize them, suddenly they're going to be able to triangulate anything to figure out where exactly a photo took place. It's wild.
They would even manage to track down the anonymous internet user who originally came up with Station 922.
Little crackly.
Not surprisingly, he had made the creature in Photoshop. There was never any video. That's not quite where the story ends though, because in 2021, a user on YouTube known as Yvonne Talk would presumably take advantage of the knowledge uncovered by the search team to recreate what the original video might have looked like if it were real using Blender, poetically putting an end to one of Russia's most infamous internet mysteries.
I kind of like that. Like, I kind of like that the internet just kind of shows up, does the thing, and they can you generally prove if something is fabricated or not. I mean, this looks fabricated to me. The way it moves, the way that it doesn't quite land. I don't know. It's very interesting. Let's put it that way. I can't actually tell if there's crackling in the video or if my audio driver's going again. I might have to restart after this.
Всем привет. As a Canadian, Russia has always been a very interesting country to me. In many ways, our two nations are quite similar. We're both very large, very cold countries, mostly comprised of uninhabitable tundra, forest, and sprawling Great Plains. We're both chock full of colonial cities filled mostly with ethnic Europeans who practice some form of Christianity. We've both treated our indigenous populations pretty poorly. We both have a lot of oil and gas to sell. Oh, and of course we both love hockey. But in other ways, our countries couldn't be more different. Canada is a new world country that's an unwavering staple of the West, whereas Russia is an old world country that has historically almost single-handedly been the East, developing their own ways of operating society separately from the West, all the way down from big things like their language's alphabet or how their government operates, to little insignificant things like how homes are heated. And let's not forget, Russia's war in Ukraine has led to them getting essentially cut off from the West, resulting in the majority of Western chains in the country transforming into uncanny Russian clones, which makes all these differences feel ever more pronounced. In many ways, Russia feels like a bizarro version of Canada, a place where everything is similar but nothing is quite the same. And I'm sure many of you watching from the USA probably feel a similar way. Today, we're going to
I don't really have any sort of comment. I can definitely tell it's my audio driver because every other second I'm just hearing like static. So it's definitely my audio driver. I'm going to restart after this. So if you're watching this, like that, you will actually hear no sound. I don't know. It's one of those things I don't really have a comment on because like when it comes to, I'm going to just say Russia going into Soviet Union, going into Russia over the past couple hundred years, I have a very brief overview of history. Dekulakization we talk about a lot, which led to Holodomor. I mean, there's a number of things historically that, like, sure, are interesting, and I have, like, a cliff notes, but I don't really have any sort of, like, one way or the other, right? Especially not anything that at least I'd be willing to share on public platform. I mean, I guess it makes sense, similar latitudes, right? I never really... I would have thought to compare Canada and Russia. I mean, yeah, like, it would make sense, right? Because the majority of Canada's population is in the southern whatever percentage of land, because you go way north and it's just a bunch of forest and tundra and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's similarities, like when you think about that. I think it's interesting to watch them as diverging parallels.
Dive into the world of Russian internet horror, which is a topic seldom discussed by Western YouTubers.
Yeah, I've never
We
heard
already
of
went
this.
over Station 922, which is a pretty infamous mystery, but our next topic is a much more obscure mystery.
Uh-huh.
On July 11th, 2013, a user on the paranormal board on 4chan would write the following post.
Oh, 4chan.
Hey X, my dad bought a CD at a computer expo in Rochester, New York a few years back. The CD itself was for some engineering software, but there was a second CD inside the CD case. There was no design or writing on it, and on the CD was a zip file called Station. Inside is a Blender game and a bunch of DLL files. The game itself is very strange. I don't want to ruin much, but it's a very crudely made game that takes place at some sort of field with two buildings. The goal is to escape the entities that are chasing you. Once they touch you, the game closes.
Uh-huh.
A couple other Anons in the thread were skeptical, but the OP actually uploaded the files to Mediafire.
Okay.
And he was telling the truth. There was indeed a game here, much like he was describing.
You know what? Brave move, downloading something off of 4chan. Bold move, downloading something off of Link Anyone Supplies on 4chan. I salute you. You are one brave soul.
Upon loading it up, you're immediately dropped into a very simple-looking game world without any sort of menu or intro of any kind. There aren't any textures, just different colored polygons. The field of view here is really narrow, and it makes the game feel very claustrophobic. You can hear strange droning sounds in the distance, and some unsettling ambient loop that almost sounds reversed.
Not the air sirens. I love this though. I'm loving this game. This looks really cool. For a base, I mean, it's still somehow more stable than modern
You appear
AAA
to be
games.
in a building surrounded by an infinite green field under a black sky. Outside the building is what might be a propane tank, another small building, and also two more tanks, suggesting that this might be some sort of industrial complex. Outside, you'll also notice what appears to be a dock on the grass, which seems to be pretty out of place considering there's no water anywhere.
Sure.
As you explore and try to figure out just what's going on, these round white faces will begin descending from the sky and following you. If they touch you, the game immediately
Nice.
shuts off, and that's all there really is to it. Nowadays, this might seem pretty akin to your average itch.io horror slop, but this sort of thing wasn't as common back in 2013.
No.
A year prior in 2012, I remember playing SCP-087, which was pretty similar. You're immediately dropped into the game without any sort of menu, explanation, or exposition.
You know, I kind of miss this era though. We've talked about a couple of games. I always forget the names of them. I think I have it on my Steam wishlist actually. I'd have to go dig it up. The one that like it's lower poly game. You're going through the game and then it'll shut itself off at intervals when you do certain things. You have to go into the root directory of the game and you have to go find. I always forget the name of it. It's on my Steam wishlist though. I need to find it. Like this was one, or like we've talked about before, Witch, spelled WHICH, right? Indie horror game that was pretty like low detail, right? I think most everything was whites and grays and blacks, right? Or shades of them. And you either gave the mannequin or whatever following you the heart or the eyes at the end, and that gave you different endings. Like I feel like this sort of indie game, like, I miss this era. I really do. I think Lost in Vivo, because I have it on Steam. I haven't played it. I watched Vinny Vinesauce play a little bit of it. That looked interesting. That's super invocative of this era. I do miss it. I think that, especially with the state the AAA gaming industry is in, I think a return to this might honestly be very welcome for many.
The only thing you can really do here is descend the staircase.
I literally have AAA games choppier than this. This is boggling to my brain.
Eventually, you'll see a face just kind of poking out of the darkness, and if you move any further, the game immediately shuts off. Nowadays, this is a common formula, but I remember being really freaked out by SCP-087 back in the day because I had never experienced anything like it. And I'm sure if I had played Station.exe back then too, it would have had a similar effect.
Probably.
Now, you might be wondering, what exactly does this have to do with Russia? Well, one 4chan Anon found a set of coordinates inside one of the walls in the game.
Uh-huh.
When plugging these into Google Maps, it revealed a couple buildings near a lake or quarry outside the Russian town of Munich in Siberia. When looking at this complex on Google Maps, you'll quickly notice that this is indeed the area depicted in the game. There's the 2 buildings, the dock, and even the propane tank, just like how they're laid out in the game. While this feels like a clue, it only brings up more questions.
This was actually a couple. I was watching, what was it before this? Japanese 8-foot tall lady. I forget what I literally forget her name offhand. I apologize. But it's straight up like 2-channel, right? 2chan status, right? 2chan like peak paranormal occult era, right? Like very much it reads like that, urban legend status. But like people were trying to pinpoint where exactly this town would be, what town could have served as inspiration for it. And we even have like the Silent Hill movies, right? Which at least the first Silent Hill movie makes reference to a town with a coal fire burning underground, clearly referencing Centralia, Pennsylvania, right? Like, it's really interesting to see where inspiration is, and that's where we get into art is derivative, right? Because you can see something or experience something. Like, I've never seen the movie Jacob's Ladder. Apparently, allegedly, Silent Hill as a series is heavily inspired by Jacob's Ladder. I also hear that they're very, very protective of their copyright, which, is fair. Everyone treats copyright differently. I've never seen the movie, though. I have nothing to compare it to. But like that's what we mean by art is derivative. Derivative isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? React content itself is also derivative. Doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad thing. It's what you do with it. How are you derivative? Are you respecting the source material? How much of the inspiration are you using? Are you just a cheap knockoff, right? Are you just doing this for content mill status, right? And that's where we get into many different ways of art. Hashishaku-sama, thank you. Yeah, that one. My pronunciation, I totally butchered that offhand. But yes, no, that's the one what I was talking about.
Why make such a crude game based on a random industrial building in a remote region of Siberia?
Because why not?
To answer that question, I think we need to investigate this area of Russia a little more. Like I said earlier, this industrial complex is a few kilometers outside the town of Milny.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to say that Milny is remote is an understatement. It's about 820 kilometers away from the nearest major city, which happens to be Yakutsk, the coldest city on Earth, which is so frigid that if you leave your car turned off outside in winter for even just a couple minutes, it will freeze and you won't be able to use it until summer.
You know what? I would do it. I would spend a week there. I would. This sounds interesting.
This leads many people there to just keep their car running for the entire season.
Makes sense.
It was in similarly harsh conditions to these that the diamond mine in Mirny was created.
Interesting.
Starting in 1957, in the heyday of the Soviet Union, workers had to use jet engines to melt the permafrost to even just begin
Wild.
digging. That was during the summer. In the winter, temperatures would get so cold that car tires would shatter and even oil would freeze.
Huh.
Despite these setbacks, digging would continue, and the Mirny mine would eventually become one of the largest man-made holes ever dug, measuring more than 1 kilometer wide. Today, this giant hole stands as Mirny's defining feature, standing ominously at the edge of town.
That's so cool. Why have I not seen a horror game based off of this?
So what does this have to do with Station.exe? Well, the area depicted in the game happens to exist on a long private road. The turnoff onto this road does happen to have a street view on Google Maps.
Nice.
This is the closest ground level look we're gonna get at the area depicted in the game. My first thought is how grim this place seems.
I don't know. I think this looks great and lively, but then again, I as an individual am very strange. Like, I look at this and go, I don't know, it's relaxing. I don't know how else to put it, right? Just being out in the middle of F off nowhere. Country roads, insert your country roads, take me home memes, right? I don't know. There's something about this that kind of does it for me. The fog in the air, the glue. It's very relaxing. I don't know how to word it.
There's nature everywhere, but it's also extremely polluted, with the sun being blocked out by a haze that seems to engulf
that's
everything.
Smog then. Okay, wait a minute.
The contrast between the nature and the pollution just makes this place seem really uncanny. You'll also notice that there's a
No. See, here's the thing. This is just San Bernardino, right? Those that have been to California, when you go up to the San Bernardino Mountains and you look down, you can't even see the buildings because of all the smog. Mind you, this was back in like 2000 to 2002, right? When I was a wee youngin' up there, right? I can't imagine it's gotten better now. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's invocative of looking down at down the hill from San Bernardino Mountains down to, as we kindly refer to it, San Bernardino. And you can tell if someone's lived near the area because they'll hear San Bernardino and they'll just go, yeah.
Sign standing next to the turnoff onto the private road that leads to the game area. If we plug this into Google Translate, it reveals that the sign says tailing deposit, which probably is referring to a tailing dam, a man-made embankment dam used to store byproducts produced from mining.
Interesting.
Judging how this area below the station.exe buildings look, it most definitely is a tailing dam, and the body of water where the buildings sit may be a reservoir feeding into the dam. But while that doesn't exactly reveal any answers about station.exe, it didn't stop users on 4chan from investigating further. One user discovered that the sounds in the game were ripped from this YouTube video taken in Ukraine. These mysterious sounds, usually referred to as the groaning earth phenomenon, are a whole crazy internet rabbit hole of their own. They were
Never heard of this. Oh, actually, in the comments section, I did see description and comments. The groaning earth video has now been released publicly, so I guess there is an update on that for full disclosure.
supposedly heard all around the world for a brief period in 2011. If you want to know more about it, we just put up a full-length video diving into it on our Patreon. Oh yeah, I guess I forgot to tell you guys. Today, we're happy to announce that we're officially launching a Patreon.
Nice.
We're only doing a single tier at $5 a month that unlocks everything across the board. You'll get access to extra full-length videos that aren't on YouTube, like the one we just made diving into the groaning earth phenomenon. You'll also get behind-the-scenes footage, as well as more personal clips from our life to enhance your parasocial relationship. On top of all of this, you'll get every video we make in much higher quality through Vimeo. Ad-free, sponsor-free, and sometimes earlier than on YouTube. You'll get access to our Patreon-only Discord, where you'll be able to connect with me and personally influence my content's direction. You'll also have the opportunity to get your name and a custom message of your choice at the end of each video. As long as we approve it, of course.
Right.
We're putting quite a lot of new resources into this Patreon, but I also want to be clear that they are new resources. Things are going to continue here on the channel as usual. You'll just have the opportunity to see more of what we do if you wish. It's only $5 a month for everything. I hope I'll see you there.
No, I like that. I honestly would probably give that. I'm leaning on 9. I was gonna say 8. I give it a 9. I'll count as a quote unquote ad read because it's a Patreon plug. But I honestly think that was really great. I thought it was really transparent. I thought it was really direct. I thought it had a lot of information. Clear marketing as a quote unquote parasocial relationship, which parasocial relationships themselves aren't bad, right? It's what you do with it, right? Do you start stalking your VTuber because we're supposed to be together? No, that's taking parasocial a little too far, right? But like, parasocial isn't bad. It's just gotten a bad rep because of internet. I give it a 9. I liked it.
Other than the Google Maps coordinates and the source of the sounds being discovered, not much else was uncovered about station.exe, and this led some users to start coming up with fake information. Like another set of coordinates that showed a forest in Russia supposedly coming from an audio file ripped from the game. But when asked for proof, none was given. A lot of stir was also made about a website called semperprotinom.com supposedly being found in the game's code. But the thing is, there is no code for the game. The only thing that was ever made public was an exe file with a few DLLs and Python libraries. The exe was never successfully decompiled by anyone, despite many users in the thread claiming to have looked through the file's so-called source code. Oh, and of course, no proof was ever given about semperprotinom.com being found anywhere in the station zip file. The sad truth is, this whole thing was probably fake right from the start. One thing from the very first 4chan thread that unfortunately flew under the radar was a user identifying the version of Blender used to make station.exe, 2.67, which was released in March of 2013. This would make OP's claim about the disc being a few years old an outright lie. Unless, of course, it was a CDRW which can potentially be modified after being written to. But that also can't be true, because OP posted pictures of the supposed disc in the thread, and another user was able to identify it as a blank disc that was never written to.
I think this is why I like internet users, because more often than not, the amount of you got a source on that and checking each other's work is way more than I see from actual everyday randoms. It is wild to think about a 4chan thread being more source heavy and citation heavy than everyday just randoms. Just think about that for a second.
OP was lying about basically everything, which can only mean one thing. Station.exe was most likely a failed ARG, which is disappointing because the premise was actually pretty interesting. Mutiny is a really cool place to set something like this, and it makes me a little sad that the concept never went any further than a lazily thrown together Blender project. Alright, we've looked at 2 stations so far, and for our next topic, we're going to look at something that supposedly occurred on a TV station.
I'm ready for this. Hit me.
The following
Hit me with
video was uploaded on August 5th, 2008. The title is in Russian. When translated into English, it reads, SGU TV, July 4th, 2008, effed up.
Excuse me. Excuse me. If you hear me sneeze, allergies are just acting up really bad today. I apologize about that in advance. Ah, yes, math, geometry even. Good stuff, showing your hypotenuse on the internet. How could you? Could you do something so scandalous? Ah, yes. See, this is why I say rabbits are evil. This is why I keep saying they're evil. They look odd. This just reads internet horror. Like this r/never happened. It's fun though.
This video seemingly shows us a network hijacking. The network supposedly depicted in this video is SGU TV, a Russian educational channel not unlike PBS in the States. The hijacking begins with a text, "Do not be afraid," followed by a drawing of a rabbit, and then
Anytime I hear like "Do not be afraid" or like "Abandon all hope, all ye who enter here," I'm just like, bro, r/never happened.
Geometry diagram showing a right angle triangle.
Yes.
We then get another screen of text, this time with a list of instructions. 1. Don't try to change anything. 2. Think only about him. 3. Hands. 4. Inspection. This video tells us that these instructions will help you to accept his truth.
Don't you touch that rabbit. Don't touch that rabbit. Don't you do it.
Whatever that means. After this, the video writes that people who watch this will go crazy, followed by the word legless.
You fool! I'm already crazy. As it turns out, the product zero sums because it's supposed to make me crazy versus me already being insane. They just cancel each other out. Thus, I become sane once more.
After this frame, we get our final screen of text, which repeats twice. This one, strangely enough, asks the viewer, "Did it work?" and then tells us that the sound in the video contains a V105 U2 PWM imprint. PWM stands for pulse width modulation, which is a common method of modifying the timbre of a square oscillator in a synthesizer, and I'm guessing it's referring to the one synthesized note that plays throughout this video, which does appear to have some sort of modulation being applied to it. I'm not too sure what the V105 U2 means in this case though, and looking it up on Google only pointed back to this video. After this text, the video tells us that there's nothing evil here. It's just a little scary. But after watching, you will supposedly feel joy and everything in your future will turn out fine.
I love that my brain automatically just defaulted to what kind of KGB instructional video is this? Look, at the end of the day, the CIA in the 80s were doing some wild stuff, okay? Like the whole Fat Electrician, Modern Arts, a psyop, right? I look like Operation Midnight, word I can't say on YouTube, right? CIA was on some stuff. It would not surprise me if the KGB was also on some stuff.
Signed,
God.
Your friend.
Right.
A test pattern shows up in the video, which as far as I can tell, appears to be a fairly standard Russian test card. The closest match I could find is this test pattern originating from Leningrad in 1988, although it's not an exact match. This video will go on to accumulate over 600,000 views, with the peak of its popularity occurring in the early 2010s.
Sure.
While commenters may have been split on whether or not the video was scary, it would still, for whatever reason, turn into a huge meme. Countless people would make their own versions or parodies of this video over the years. While the title of the original clip may have merely stated the network and time of the supposed hijacking,
Floppa.
the meme would go on to be known by a line of text in the video. Beznogim, or in English, legless.
Okay.
Some of these alternate versions of this video are pretty funny. I like this one called Retro Legless, that just shows us the entire video but with the Windows Movie Maker sepia film effect applied to it. The lines of text here are framed in ornate silent movie borders, and the synth tone is replaced with ragtime piano. I don't know why, but I find this really funny. I also like Legless Gabbin Edition, which is truly a time capsule of early 2010s internet culture. This one talks about the long-anticipated Half-Life 3 and includes some spooky Gabbin jump scares. I just wish they had snuck in "the cake is a lie" somewhere.
Oh my god.
What's interesting about this meme is the sheer staying power. People are still making new versions of this video to this day, and all of this for the last 17 years has been based off of this relatively mundane original video.
You see, with this understanding, like this makes it a KGB psyop make a lot more sense. Like this makes everything make more sense to me.
Maybe there's more to this that I'm not getting as a naive Westerner. Let's investigate the original video a little closer. I decided to start with finding the source for the rabbit picture. My first thought here is that this image has been inverted. And sure enough, it looks a lot more natural when inverted back.
Sure.
Doing a quick image back search revealed that this picture is actually from a children's coloring book. Combining that with the right angle triangle that was probably taken from a math book explaining the Pythagoras theorem, I'm gonna go ahead and guess that this video was probably made by a middle schooler.
Maybe.
According to Neolurk, a site documenting Russian memes, the idea behind this video probably originated as some sort of creepypasta a year earlier on a Russian image board similar to 4chan, meaning that this video followed a similar creation process to Station 922. Neolurk also archived some of the original legless memes and rage comics from back in the day, which I must say are pretty cool. So far, we've talked about 2 stations and 1 TV station hijacking. But for our last topic today, there's no station involved. The following video was uploaded on January 29th, 2009.
Okay.
We're gonna watch it in full before talking about it.
I'm ready for this. Hit me. Oh. Okay.
This clip presents itself as a PSA, but not a public service announcement, rather a phantom signal alert. Some obscured white face then begins babbling incoherently while occasionally being interrupted by static and what could be distorted screaming. Several pieces of disturbing text pop up in the video. The first strikingly reading, "We're roasting an electric video fire." The text
This very much reads like some sort of dog whistle. Very much reads like kind of like-minded individuals pay attention to this, that kind of thing. This also reads like a commentary. It's interesting.
The rest of the video appears to be written from the viewpoint of a dead child, being that it at one point asks, "If there are any more dead kids out there, then show yourselves," with the video closing out with, "Meet us in the video world." The title of this video is "Many Kids Have Died Over These Years," and this clip would swiftly spread around the Russian internet after being uploaded. A creepypasta would be written about it, stating that people who view this video in its entirety may hallucinate horrible things and that it's even potentially caused the deaths of 23 people in total. The creepypasta also tells a story of how some of these deaths happened in Ukraine, which kind of follows the same story format that all cursed media creepypastas follow, so I'm not going to get into it here.
Sure.
The channel that uploaded this video is called Dead Kids Foundation, and while this clip may be their most infamous, it's certainly not their only upload. Their first video was put up all the way back in 2007, and it follows a similar format to the one we just watched. Although the text here reads, "You're not welcome to play in the video world anymore." Their second video, uploaded only 2 days after their first, has a link in its description that explains what's going on here. This site isn't live anymore, but it was luckily archived all the way back in 2007 on the Wayback Machine.
Interesting.
This is a page presumably created by the Dead Kids Foundation, which openly states, "It's a game, an ARG." But they go on to say that they're looking to find the video and the story behind it. To find out what that means, we need to return to the channel's first video, which is called 333-333-333. This is in fact a reference to the Wyoming Incident ARG, which was one of the first internet horror ARGs ever.
I've never heard of
The
this.
Wyoming Incident told a tale about a video that was shown during a TV hijacking that apparently drove viewers to madness. Dead Kids Foundation appears to be some sort of attempt at gamejacking this ARG, or at least trying to stoke more interest in it. The thing is though, as the Dead Kids Foundation videos became popular in the Russian internet, they kept the channel going independent of the Wyoming incident. They took down the site explaining that the project was an ARG and began infrequently uploading new videos expanding the lore of the Dead Kids Foundation, with the last video being uploaded only 2 years ago, which actually makes this one of the longest running internet horror projects ever.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, it's probably only beat by the Wyoming incident itself. If you want to learn more about the lore of the Dead Kids Foundation, I recommend diving into it yourself. It's not a terribly long series, and some of the videos are pretty well done. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this brief tour of Russian internet horror. If you got this far through the video, maybe consider subscribing, hey? I hope you have a good night, and be sure to check out our Patreon if you want to learn more about the strange sounds heard all over the world in 2011. And as always, thanks for watching. Do svidaniya. Hey guys, just kind of coming at you here with a bit of an epilogue for this video. So, to put all of this together, I was watching a lot of Russian internet horror on YouTube, and I suppose it had some sort of effect on my personalized algorithm because
Yeah.
my YouTube recommendations now is completely filled with cool Russian internet horror that I've never seen before. There's a lot of really well put together stuff that I just kind of had no clue about. And I imagine a lot of you guys probably haven't seen either because it's all in Russian. And it begs the question, should I make a part 2? Should I turn this into a series? Would you like to see more of this sort of thing? Let me know down in the comments. If you want to see more, I will turn this into a series. Yeah, I guess that's all I got. Like I said earlier, have a good night. See ya.
What a cool video. I liked it. Thought it was actually really cool. I thought the reads were really good. I thought the mic quality was really good. Through my audio driver throwing a fit right now, and every time he speaks, it crackling. It was consistent. It was good. I liked it. I liked the explanation behind it as well. A lot of horror channels on YouTube are just gonna oh well, this actually happened, and not tell you open information, right? Or try to posit it as some sort of, well, this absolutely happened. I liked it. I liked this format. I thought this was great. And we do have a part 2 that he did upload, which is actually kind of cool to see. The hindsight, forward from this video. I thought it was great. You should definitely go ahead and check out links in the description to the video as well as his channel in the description down below. Check out his channel. This was honestly really cool. It was really cool to see this. And I totally get the algorithm thing. My algorithm is so confused right now between all the stuff I watch. It does not know how to handle me. But thank you everyone for watching. I really do appreciate it. And let me know what you thought. I'll see you in the next one.